Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome to another installment of the ArchCast. A couple of quick announcements before we get started today. Firstly, we will be trying out a new tabletop game after the stream on Carl's channel. We'll be trying out that Saga game everyone's been talking about. See if it's actually fun. We'll be doing that completely blind, also to figure out if it's easy to learn to play or if it's very gay. And this is a hopeful scenario because it's rather windy outside, and since I live in the middle of the forest, there is every possibility that a tree will fall across my power line any minute now, at which point I will disappear and you will all be left in utter darkness.
Yes, and at that point, I will wait around. We'll wait around for 20 minutes. If he doesn't show up by the 20-minute mark, I'll end the stream, and we'll read the supers that we missed in the next stream.
That is the hope. The dream, even. Ah, the joys of living in the middle of the forest. To be fair, the local energy company is relatively good at what they do. Most of the time, they'll have an error up in an hour, two, which is fine. But there was a massive storm a few, like a month or two ago, when the power was out for like 15 hours. And during winter, that gets annoying. I'm very glad we've got a nice big oven.
Nice and toasty.
A fireplace.
A fireplace. A wooden fireplace? Not like a...
An actual fireplace.
It's heated with fire. So strange.
What else would you heat it with?
Water.
Uh-huh.
Like a real Chad.
I remember at my parents' place, the power went out one evening and everyone was hunkered together in this one house, my grandmother included, which has since passed, unfortunately. But my father was like, oh, God, I need coffee. He's just slowly beginning to twitch. Like, how can I get coffee when there's no electricity? Eventually, he grabs an old fucking pot, like a cast iron pot, and starts pouring water and coffee into that and just places that in the fireplace. Like, this'll work. It did, kinda.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
False fireplace with gas heating. What the hell, chat? What's wrong with any of you? And that's just disgusting.
Remember, Arch is a bit like, he doesn't understand that technology has improved, so he's like, you know the bicycles that they used to ride in like the 1800s with the big circular wheel? That's you. Like, this is a mountain bike. It's like, no, it's not.
The entire gas heating thing is ridiculous. Like, oh yes, let me just store a high-pressure container of explosive gas somewhere in my house for shits and giggles. The English use this to cook food, and they deliberately set it on fire. So, if I just set a little bit on fire, it'll only be a minor explosion hazard.
You remind me of that time we bought a stove in my pop's place, and this is before we immediately sent it back and got a new one. But I had bumped one of the knobs, right? And I didn't notice. And I went to bed because I was babysitting the house, and I woke up and I was like, it smells like gas. And I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna explode. It was quite bad. I had to open the windows and I was like, let's not blow up today.
Gas is just dumb. If you're gonna use anything like that, at least use good old-fashioned hard fuel. You know, because then at least the explosion hazard will be minimal. Or just logs. Just goddamn logs. The logs aren't going to explode. And they're easy to get. They're literally free. Just walk outside in the forest, start chopping down trees. Or the local park, if you're, quick. Local authorities might take a, bit of a problem with that eventually, but
Just a pinch, huh?
I don't think there are specifically any laws forbidding you from chopping down trees in public parks.
Arch is afraid of an open flame. It's true. Archie's firing. He's like, "Ee!" This is squeals. Hides in the corner, like, no.
And speaking of flames, Disney have gotten themselves a couple of flames as well. This is one of those utterly inconsequential things. These utterly pointless little stories that nevertheless must be brought up because it is so roundly retarded. that it must. There's no going around it. There is no going around it because Disney. It's like, okay, we're gonna make Snow White, but it's the current year, so we can't simply just make Snow White, and she certainly can't be, white because that's racist. So first and foremost, we'll cast a Latinx actress. You proud of me, Boog? I got it right. Latinx actress.
I can hear him
And
squealing.
figuring that they were in for rounds of applause and head rubs and belly pats and all of these various things, they were like, "Oh my god, look how progressive we are!" Then Peter Dinklage come wandering out from the brick he's been lying under, I presume, and goes, "Wait, hold on. What about the dwarves?"
Peter Dinklage.
What about the dwarves?
Oh my god, I forgot about him. He's the dude who was in the Game of Thrones show and lashed out at fans. I forgot. Yes. He's very
Sounds a bit slow.
sensitive. Very sensitive.
Peter Dinklage. Here, I'll show you a picture of the new Snow White. As you can see, she's very fitting for the role. They're gonna have to dunk her into bleach first, but minor insignificant details.
See, this is like if we did like a a Mexican story or a Hispanic story, and we're like, yeah, so let's cast them as white. Like this is a European story. Granted, a story, that Disney has falsely claimed, as its own. Like we own Snow White. It's like, no, you don't. But and Cinderella and all that other crap. Copyright abuse. That is another can of worms.
There was actually a big old outcry about this when Disney started doing this because the people who had actually not made but gathered up these various stories. They'd only been dead for like a generation or so, and that time's writers were like, "Hold on, you're just gonna take somebody else's story and copyright it as yours? What the hell?"
Like
And
we
yes, they
did
were.
it. Like, okay, Disney, you made an adaptation of that story. Sure, the animation can make money because you made the thing and whatever. But they're like, we own the whole thing, though.
Well, again, there's the problem because in theory, you could go and create a Snow White movie today and simply say that this is based on the original story of Snow White. It has no connection to the Disney version. The issue is if it has Snow White and seven dwarves in it, that'll be enough for Disney to claim that this is sufficiently similar to their own IP to sue you, at which point you're going to have to wrangle with 30 lawyers. That's the thing. It's not a realistic possibility. Like, yes, you could argue this thing in court, but you don't have the money to argue this thing in court. And they know that.
The other problem where people often they come to the conclusion like, yeah, but people could just fight this in court. They could just die on a hill. Problem is okay, sure. Let's say hypothetically you're gonna die on the hill, for the greater good, as it were. Well, you die on the hill. You have no money left. Also, Disney won.
Yeah, that's the other scenario too, because with how confused copyright law can be, you are not guaranteed to win that either. That's the issue.
Yep. They'll just drag it out in court, and when they drag it out in court, you'll run out of money, and there you are, dead on a hill. Congratulations. The pile grows a little bit taller.
It's a complicated set of scenarios, but this story has then gone on for quite some time with the Latinx main actress, of course, being Snow White. Nobody minds that. That's fine. It's very diverse and very 2020. But Peter Dinklage has now complained about short people's right in this, which made Disney again go like, "Oh god damn it, fine. It shan't be Snow White. It shall be Latinx and the seven magical creatures." The seven magical creatures.
Yeah, but these dwarves are fantasy dwarves because they're literally like they dig and they have really big noses and they're really weird looking. Like they're clearly not like real life human dwarves. They're fantastical already.
Well, That's the thing. You might think that, but as the Disney spokesperson said, we don't have spokesmen anymore, to avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, stereotypes about magical dwarves living in a magical forest being hunted by an evil witch, we are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. That's apparently a thing. We look forward to sharing more as the film heads into production after a lengthy development period. The amusing part is, too, the dwarfism community were actually pissed as hell about this because a bunch of people who were, short people, were now looking at Peter Dinklage and going, hold on, you just robbed us of 7 lucrative jobs from Disney.
Peter Dinklage and his idealism, costing people their jobs.
Peter Dinklage is already famous. He's already that dwarf from the Lord of the Rings.
See, I understand what he's doing. He's succeeded, and now it's time that no one else succeeds.
Yes, now that ladder is coming up, and it's coming up quick.
A bit cruel, if you ask me. Just a pinch. It's gonna be awful. I can just tell already, though. Oh, man.
Oh, it's gonna be ridiculous. But the thing is, too, I've mentioned this previously, but I find it particularly funny. There are articles in, Russia and China and stuff doing what we are doing now, practically just making fun of this. Government newspapers are printing articles look at the West. They've got black people in playing Hamilton now, and they're going to have this, too. It's Snow White is now a Latinx, and she's surrounded by 7 magical creatures. It's beyond parody. It's just a joke. Disney is speaking to the dwarfism community. Dwarfism. I need somebody to explain to me how this fucking word works. Dwarfism. It is an ism. Sexism. Misogynism.
You're dwarfism.
Dwarfism.
You have dwarfism.
Is this the hatred of dwarfs, or is this the advocacy organization for dwarfs? I'm confused.
Okay, Barch. It's just an ism.
Relax. Hold on. DuckDuckGo has given me the answer. A dwarfism is a trait where an organism is exceptionally small. I see. It's a scientific term. Well, excuse my ignorance, I guess.
Yes. Technically, you can get a dog with dwarfism. Dwarfism is, it can.
I would love a dog with dwarfism.
That's not.
I imagine that'd be fucking adorable.
Small dogs are sad dogs. How dare you? Ankle biter loving son of a gun.
But I do imagine that would look fucking adorable.
Look at him. Look at him, chat. What about a cat with dwarfism? I wonder what that would look like.
I think that would look stupid, but for some reason I think a dog would look pretty good.
I think that would look stupid. Cat's already tiny. What about a chihuahua with dwarfism?
And here comes the different words. So apparently parts of the dwarfism community have rejected the term dwarfism and prefer terms such as little people, short stature, or simply dwarf, apparently.
What happened to the word midget? Was that word now negative connotation or what?
I don't see any mention of that, so I believe that is now a negative connotation.
Is that a slur now?
I would presume so, yes.
Because I thought that it was also referred to as midget, dwarf, small people, stuff like that.
Small people. Well, it does sound somewhat magical and fantastical, I will say that.
Small people. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum.
I suppose if I was a midget, I would prefer to be called a small person. Because that's just funny. I'm a small people.
I'm a small people.
I'm a small people. I'm a nation in and of myself.
Gotta start somewhere, even if you gotta start small. The small jokes are hurting me. Help.
And so now Disney is finding themselves in the rather ridiculous situation of being yelled at by the small people for taking away their jobs, probably pretty lucrative jobs too. And considering Peter Dinklage is now a household name because of, a TV series show, I imagine this would be a great opportunity for them, but no, that is now taken away because Peter Dinklage's feeling has been offended that Disney is telling a fairy tale that has magical creatures in it. That's the thing that annoys me too. Like, the dwarves are not human beings. They are not small people. They are not midgets. They are dwarves, as in a magical race of creatures that dig in the dirt. They have a literal goddamn mine in their backyard.
Yep. And it's only a couple steps away.
I think they were hauling like full-on fucking diamonds out of there too.
Listen, they're gonna be very, very wealthy. They're gonna buy the kingdom.
This is a stupid world we live in.
Yes, it is.
Now, on to something far more important here, because whilst Disney may not be able to save us from ourselves, I'll tell you who will save us, Kyle. I'll tell you who we need to ally with right now.
Ooh, ally with. Now we're using
Yes.
some really cringe words now.
Now we are using terms that we need to use,
Our
Kyle.
ally.
We need to ally.
Are you an ally? Ew, Tencent.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to our future friends in the East. And I do not want to hear a single xenophobic phrase out of that tiny little hole you call a mouth, Kyle. China is our friend and our ally in the fight. As Tencent allegedly wanted bigger breasts and no black people in a movie that he was funding.
What movie? I'm kind of curious now.
Well, to be fair, like, this is a bit of a joke thing, because this is not sourced from anything. No, nothing whatsoever. This is a claim made by a no-name nobody on a CrumbTuber stream that nobody cares about. That just went like, oh, I totally worked for Tencent, and a friend of a friend of a friend totally told me that they were like xenophobic and racist and wanted no black people in their movies. They can't name the movie either, by the way.
Sounds awful.
I do like how chat responds with based, though.
I will never say anything communists do is based. That is not based.
Hey, this isn't communism, Kyle. This is capitalism.
No, it isn't. It's a
Big
branch of
bird
the
cell.
CCP. Don't lie.
What the fuck? I love communism now, says the chat. Very good, very good. We're all getting on board with this.
Unprincipled strange swain. All of you.
Yes, yes. Some of our rights will have to be curtailed under communism, but remember, the ones who will primarily suffer are ironically today's communists. They're the ones first up against the wall. The rest of us, we can continue living quite happy lives, so long as we forego making fun of Winnie the Pooh, of course.
Oh, Tencent. Forgo. Exist. Ugh. Many things. Tencent's really bad. I'd rather the Megacorp be friggin' microcunts over Tencent. We have to pick. If we have to pick.
We have to pick, Kyle, and it's Disney or Tencent. You don't get an option of Microsoft.
I mean, Disney does sell out to China a lot.
And in reality, if you pick Microsoft or Disney, you'll be getting the same communist package. You'll be just as oppressed, but you won't have Tencent's based position on big tits.
Disney doesn't have as much influence in the gaming industry, so I choose Disney.
You've chosen incorrectly.
They have a fairly large, section of the games industry. They have LucasArts games and a bunch of other licenses, but you know what? I don't care. At least they don't have their fingers in everything like Tencent.
I tried, chat. I tried to show him the way,
this is like comparing Hitler to Stalin, though. Like, this is like, oh,
you can lead a Kyle to water, but you cannot make it.
Would you like to be in the concentration camp, or would you like to be in the gulag? It's like, but both places I die, though. It's like, well, make your choice.
Which name will have big tits?
Which name sounds better, And the gulag doesn't sound good. It sounds like goulash, Actually, goulash is pretty good, but That's actually.
In fact, I refer you back to Snow White and the Latinx actress, flat as a washing board. Okay? And suddenly kind of realizes communism is the future.
No. I'll never simp for communism.
That's fine,
Like
Kyle. You'll be
you.
one of the many people I'll sell out.
Look at this pro-communist simp.
I will live the good life. Like, I have a list of people I can rat out under communism. Can you imagine the bounties I'll get on some of these people? Can you imagine the person who managed to rat out Twitch's Dear Girl? That man will live in a mansion for the rest of his life.
I won't.
He
I'll work in the mines.
Of course not. He's a good communist.
Yeah, but he's not part of the established elite. His usefulness is over. What use can it provide now that its usefulness is over?
As an informant, of course.
It's a detriment. It's time to be disposed of to the gulag.
Kyle does not understand the usefulness of informants to the communist regime. He should speak more to V.
Just look at the gulags under Stalin. You'll see. Be useful. He might be last on the list.
Informants over there, though.
35 U.S. states back Epic, an ongoing Epic versus Apple antitrust case.
Moving from one communist state to another.
More communism in gaming. God, it's everywhere.
No, see, this is again, like, this is Kyle as wrong as A. First, he's wrong on China, and now he's going to be wrong about Epic versus Apple, right?
Both companies are evil. I don't care. I've got no ace in this fight.
Ace?
Yeah.
But in here, we have the Epic versus Apple debacle continuing on still, with Fortnite suing Apple for shutting it off its Play Store. And it's now got 35 US states backing it in the antitrust suit. There's been quite a lot of antitrust movement in America over the course of the last couple of years now. It started on the Trump-lophagus, and Biden has been too busy invading Russia in winter to be able to pull the brakes on any of this, which is nice. In fact, amusingly enough, the Democrats have been the driving force behind a lot of this, though in the opposite direction, in that they want censorship, but even more stringent. In fact, I might do a video on this on Monday, because it's just one of those retarded things, but over in the UK, there is a bill suggesting that the bosses of social media companies might have to go to jail if they don't censor fast enough. This is where we do arrive at that good old, there's a difference between shaving and cutting off your head, but there is virtue in excess.
At least somebody's amused.
Look at Kyle. He's seething. He's like, wait, regulation on me? Yes. Yes.
It's okay, Arch. You can continue to dream. He's like, little tears.
Now, in the case of the states, they've got a little bit of a different idea here than just bringing Fortnite back onto the store, though. And so that's not what primarily interests them. They're claiming that Apple's super competitive profits, basically that Apple has a near monopoly on the app market and is earning a ridiculous quantity of cash on it. I think I saw a... let me actually look that up. I had a look at the Apple's revenue, which came up. There we go, yes. $123.9 billion in revenue in last year. And for some reason, the US thinks that this is a bit goddamn much, frankly. And might be doing some damage to the consumer, which I frankly entirely agree with. It's the same thing with Microsoft and the Activision Blizzard thing, where when companies reach this size, even if there is a competitor, even if an indie studio comes up, even if an alternative comes up, if an alternative does arise, 99.9% chance they'll simply just buy them, and there's very little you can do to stop that.
Yep. Tragic. The ups and downs of the free market.
Oh, that is why you do need some form of regulation on it. The free market, that's the thing too, the free market. We do not have a free market in the strictest possible term because the free market, like with anything taken to the extreme, will end up badly.
It will end up with one person controlling the market. Yes. Very true.
Yes. It'll also end up with a great deal of immorality, as people will go, well, you know what sells really well? Black people.
I mean, you know what's a great example of this? Is anyone familiar with you remember, I know you remember, the early days of Steam. It's because Steam sucked. Like it was garbage. But what made Steam actually get better? It was when things like Origin and GOG and all these competitors, sure, yeah, Origin sucks, sure, yeah, you know, GOG is underdeveloped because CD Projekt Red's an idiot and they don't want to actually invest in it. And it's missing core features, but because those things came around, that created a lot of competition. Because now they actually have to compete because all it would take is a little bit of competency, which is too hard for them, for Steam to really fall behind.
And there was a really tragic lost opportunity as well because Steam's UI, Steam's interface has improved significantly. The services they offer have improved significantly. And they have made a lot of interesting initiatives, which we can debate the virtues of at length. Like early access has been beneficial and extremely harmful in equal measures. Opening the Steam platform up to practically anyone who wants to get on it has also been equally beneficial and harmful as well, where you have absolutely brilliant games that might not have been possible otherwise, like Factorio, alongside absolutely awful games like Bad Rats or worse. The real tragedy too, though, is that a lot of the actual competitors they didn't go in with all of the vim and vigor that they really should have. Like Origins, for example. Origins was toying with the idea of going, okay, we are going to deliver digital products at a digital price, which had the potential to really, really undercut the Steam marketplace. Because if Steam is taking a 33% cut, and they're asking for $60 video games, if GOG, I was about to say, if Origins was then saying, okay, we're going to sell video games for 40%, they would probably have taken a much larger market share, especially if they'd also been smart enough to reduce their own cut a little bit. But sadly, they never did that, and right now they are offering games at the same price as Steam, if indeed not more expensive than Steam, and they're lacking a lot of Steam's deep discounts, which is highly beneficial as well. Like, I'm looking at Steam's front page right now.
Yeah.
And you've got the Elder Scrolls Online, garbage, by the way, but it's 70% off. Like, a 70% discount is crazy.
Yeah, the sales are quite good. GOG's also not too bad either, by the way, when you check out some of their sales. Because those games are also old, so they're really dirt cheap. But, yeah, no, like, the Steam sales, like, there's a reason why they print money, and there's a lot of memes about Gabe, you know, like, being Jesus and descending from heaven and whatnot. Because, like, the games become super cheap, but one of the things that definitely sucks about Steam, which you kind of mentioned earlier, is that 30% they take, because they do take 30% from the developers. Granted, they do offer a lot of tools. They offer server integration. They sort of took over what GameSpy used to do. So like you can actually have proper servers. You get access to the forum tools and their mod hosting, so you can have workshop and what that integration and patches and stuff like it. There's some niceties that come with it, but still, it is 30%. Quite a bit when you think about it. Because that's before the government, because you know the government's going to take their cut, of course, you know, of your sales and all that other stuff. So you like that's quite a bit. That is quite a bit. Oh, I can't get over that. 30%.
It's a mighty big slice, and particularly also because Steam is not the sales platform it once was. Back in the day, getting on Steam was a big achievement, and it pretty much meant that you had your game made because you'd be on the Steam front page. You might be there for like a week. You'd be shown to thousands upon thousands of prospective customers. Now, your game comes out, it's on the front page for a day, if you're lucky,
An
if you're really
hour.
goddamn lucky.
Yeah, because it gets buried by like all the crap. Because this is a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because never before has there been a time that's better to make games than there is now. There are more new games born today than there ever was 10 years ago. Basically, because they just pump them out like crazy in a year. Like, it's insane. But the part of the problem with that, and while making games has become easier for smaller groups and individuals, part of the problem with that also is the fact that, well, now it's oversaturation on that market to an extreme degree. So sometimes great games you'll never know about because they'll be buried. They didn't get the traction. The advertisement just wasn't there. Didn't click. You know. Not to say that there isn't different ways, like YouTubers. YouTubers are a huge thing. Like, when I look at the market, when it's like advertisement, like, you get a popular YouTuber to play your game, and bam, an explosion. But you got to get their attention. You can either pay them, or they can just stumble into your game. You know.
Or you can create the genre now popularly known as YouTuber bait video games.
Yeah. Was that a bread simulator game or whatever?
Yep.
Obtusely hard and poorly optimized and poor controls. Bam, you've got yourself a YouTuber game. That one game with the pot and the guy with the sledgehammer and you have to like climb up things. Just make your game absurd.
Clickbaity looking. Some stupid ideas to it.
Now, there's a lot of clickbait games that have absolutely fallen under the radar too. Because you'll also, if you just browse through Steam long enough, you'll see them. YouTuber bait games that tried and failed to catch the attention.
Mm-hmm. I even remember a total butt cancer, as I like to call him. He did a big thing on this many, many years ago now, but he brought up a really interesting point where he was playing a little video game, and it was this cool kind of gravity puzzler style game where you were in water and you had to like jump from like orb to orb, and each orb had its own gravity. So you had to figure out how to use the gravity to get over there and so on and so on. It was a really cool concept. It was well programmed. The gravity feature was interesting. It was graphically quite pleasant to look at, very like stylized and cartoony. And there was nothing wrong with it at all. And TV was basically asking the question, why didn't I look at this game? Because he was trying to bring attention to that there were so many games like that now, so many little like quirky puzzle platformer with an appealing look and a kind of cool mechanic, that he didn't even have a chance to look at them all. And that was what he did for a living, and he didn't cover these games because of the insane saturation of it.
Yep. Oh god, there's a great meme about this that I've seen some devs pass around, where it's like the quirky indie game where it's basically like Mother, or I forget what the other name the game had, and it's got this quirky themes about depression and it's like that, and it's all hipstery. Those games come out so often, and sometimes fair few times they just don't make it. They make the cut, but like a lot of them, like Undertale with the twist they did. There's another one I can't remember about some old dude taking care of like a little kid. Then there's another one that recently came out the other day, about a month ago or 2 months ago. That one had like a weird chalky art style. Like they come out all the time. Earthbound, thank you. I couldn't remember the other name for it. But yeah, it's crazy. Celeste was another one with an E at the end, a platformer dealing with quirky depression and stuff like that. And some of them are actually genuinely good. But the thing is, like, they are kind of all the same, though.
And they become popular through pure goddamn chance. That's the thing. Like Helltaker. Helltaker was another one of those. Normally, no one would have given Helltaker a second look. Like it's a cute little puzzly game with a pretty rockin' soundtrack and some nice looking art. like a million other titles, except it gets picked up on, and it gets that weird butterfly effect, that 1,000,000 to 1 confluence of coincidences that sees it just scattered across the entire internet before you even know what the hell's going on.
Yep, it came out at an opportune time, got really lucky, and sort of exploded. And it was also helped by the fact that the artist himself, I can't remember the Polish guy's name. I think he's Polish at least. He's quirky, he's a bit derpy, and whatnot, and he's got a sort of unique style and to his characters and whatnot. And so it just sort of clicked, and it sort of, exploded. And then of course some YouTubers covered it too, which again helps with exposure. Because the thing is, games journos, that's why games journos kind of hate YouTubers now. Like content creators and streamers and guys who do reviews are like Arch and stuff on games like you've never even heard of, like that Japanese game Lost Technology the other day. I found out about that game when I was talking to Arch a long time ago.
It's a really cool little game.
It is crazy. Like it's a weird little thing. But yeah, like there's so many games, and if sometimes they just don't get the limelight. And when you're a developer, right? Like, okay, you're gonna approach a games, a magazine thing. Do you have an inside man who works there and is kind of friends with you? No? Okay, well, good luck. Oh god, chat's talking about Y2K. That game is a meme. I've never played it, and I looked at that. It looks awful. I'm not sure if you've seen that, Arch. That's another one of those quirky indies.
Another one of those quirky indies. Well, I feel like I have seen that game, yet at the same time I haven't seen that game.
It's got like the ginger dude with the glasses. He's a self-insert character.
I haven't seen that game, no.
I've seen a few memes of it. I've been trying to avoid it, but unfortunately I know about its existence.
It is, it's interesting. It's weird. Now, again, though, let's return to the whole competition point as well, because competition is extremely beneficial. And it's also led to some very, very good widenings, if you will, of the services we consume too. For example, Steam offers porn games now. Like erotic entertainment, Kyle. Eroticism. Yeah.
Oh, that's another topic altogether, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't before because there was no need to. Like, it was filthy, dirty, filthy. And yet, with increased competition from Origin, from Epic, from GOG, Steam figured, you know what? How about we offer what they don't? And so now there's furry porn games on Steam, and there's thousands of degenerates there in all due likelihood.
Yeah. Fortunately, Steam does have a category system. I just wish it was a bit more in depth because I blocked several like types of searches just so I don't have to see them anymore. That is nice. I do like Steam's ability to block certain categories if you're not interested in them. Like visual novel was one of the first ones I put down there. It's like, nope, don't want to see that. Porn games, don't want to see that.
See, I would actually genuinely love for there to be some good VN novels, but the thing is, they are 99.9% shit. Like, when I saw them release Utawaru Mono again, I immediately picked that up, because that is one of my favorite VNs ever. It's got a great story with some great plot twists and some gameplay to boot. There's even there's even quite a few Western developers now that have moved into the VN and the eroge market and are doing pretty well. Like, they are delivering products that are of pretty damn high quality. They're having a lot of their own troubles, though, because, well, Steam might allow them on, PayPal sure as hell isn't, like Kickstarter isn't, various crowdfunding platforms isn't, or, well, that's the thing. They'll allow them on, they'll let them past all of their safeguards, but then they become popular, and suddenly they're like, actually, you have some money on your account now.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's good, honestly. Like, I think that Steam allowing these... Oh, God. Chat's talking about Sex with Hitler game. Yes, I've heard about it. The thing is, it's good. It's good. I think people should be allowed to purchase whatever they want, regardless of whatever it is. It's their decision, their money. And Steam should just be a neutral platform. Opinion
that Foot Fetish Fortress of All Titan should be sold on Steam.
Is that an actual name, or are you just making that up?
That is an actual name.
Say that again? That was very hard for me to actually absorb.
Okay, let me read you the entire title because it's quite lovely. Foot Fetish Fortress Vol Titan versus the Jundo Empire, Volume 1.
That is quite the name. Like, I've heard products with big names, and that is a big one.
I do love some of the. I'm looking at the porn games right now. They have fantastic titles. My Therapist is a Futanari. That one's one that's just there, like, hello.
My God.
Sex with Hitler, yep.
Yep, that one.
I mean, to be fair, from the screenshot, like, the art is of decent quality. It's got live 2D. The gameplay looks absolutely dreadful, but oh well.
These sound. Yeah, I don't check that category. Though I did. You know what's funny? There was an interesting video I saw the other day. Let's see if I can pull up the name of it. There's a YouTube channel called Never Knows Best. Bubble sent me this, and it was called Exploring the Weird World of Adult Video Games. It was about an hour long, and this guy had genuinely played through like several dozen adult video games, from patron games to like things like that one with the guy who wears the green shirt and has the brown hair and he rapes people. Can't remember the name.
Rants.
Yes, I knew you'd remember it.
It is a full-on meme in the hentai community.
But he did like a full-blown breakthrough in discussing like the value of these games, and you know, some of the problems these games face, and some of the bad things that come with the games like this, but also the good things that come with it. It was kind of an interesting little video. And what's funny is I listened to that literally the other day. Isn't that coincidental? I'm surprised that this has become a conversation point for today.
Coincidental.
But with ours, you shouldn't be surprised.
All the way back to the original point as well, with the whole Epic versus Apple thing. The only reason why this is a thing is because there is competition in the field. If there wasn't, Steam would still be a piece of shit platform. They'd still be taking a 30% cut, and they'd be offering nothing in return, in all due likelihood. But when companies grow to the size of Apple, that kills competition. Because even if there is an alternative, there is no way to defend that alternative from simply just becoming another Apple product. And this is where we do need the government. It is an imperfect solution, to be absolutely sure, but the only way you beat a mega corporation-sized bully is with an even larger bully. Tragic though they may be.
Gotta start somewhere. See, that's the problem, though. Like, we're just having megacorps bonk each other. And I think at the end of the day, like, okay, we'll laugh at the one that loses, but then the one that wins has more power now.
Yeah, and again, that is why we do need more control over this. It's so dumb, because there are so many potential downsides as well. Like I mentioned, the crazy woman in England who's like, let's start jailing social media companies. Yeah, that's gonna backfire pretty.
Or like that Microsoft thing not that long ago, like, we need cross-platform banning. Woo!
Yep. And the thing is, that's only a question until it actually happens, because Phil Spencer is sitting on such a mountain of cash that will only grow larger now that they own like 50% of all the popular IPs in the world. Eventually, Microsoft's just going to buy Sony. Like, that's where we're heading right now. We are heading towards a situation where all of the consoles will be owned by Nintendo, which makes handheld consoles for Japan, and then Microsoft, which makes everything else.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, Sega tapped out a while ago. That was like, what, 2004?
Yeah, Sega's given up on that.
They're like, we's done. we's just a game publisher now. And ever since then, it's like, okay, I don't mind seeing Sega stuff because they're not doing too many derpy things. And even then, when they were part of the console wars, they had some interesting offers. But the whole thing is, right, without other competition, there's going to be a serious amount of stagnation. The console wars, regardless of your opinion of consoles, is fairly interesting to watch. As a PC gamer, I actually find it rather interesting to watch as these companies compete with their machines and what they try to do. Nintendo with their gimmicks, and Sony and Microsoft trying to outpace each other with exclusive deals, which was cancer to watch. But it's interesting to see what they do, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Like, what is Sony going to do in response to this? Because it'll be interesting, but at the same time, I'm worried that the response is going to be awful. Because Sony is remarkably inept right now, and their incompetence is laughable. They censor half their own games. They alienated a serious portion of their audience. Like, they're in a huge strait right now. I don't see this going well at all for them. And yeah, you mentioned earlier Microsoft buying them out. I wouldn't be surprised considering Microsoft sent a delegation to Nintendo to try to buy them as well. Like, that was quite a while ago, if I remember, though.
Mm-hmm.
And they were literally laughed out of the building, if I remember right. The Dreamcast 2 will save us. It'll be the dream. Sega's coming back, guys. I don't think so, though. Would be interesting play, though.
It's but a relatively unlikely one, if I'm to be entirely honest.
I think Sega's sort of content to be a publisher now. I heard also
Sega is doing well on its publishing arm right now.
Sega, I think I heard correctly. This is also gaming related. I think they are shutting down the remaining arcades.
Yes, they have pulled entirely out of the arcade industry, which, to be honest, was better late than ever. Like, Jesus Christ, arcade machines, come on.
There are still arcades though, like Dave and Buster's in the U.S. Oh, I'm sad though. Like, as a little kid, I remember the roller skating place, and I remember like there was like arcades and stuff, and they were super cool. The Sega arcades and stuff. It's sad. Yeah, that era is gone. It's a bit tragic.
There might see, that's the thing though. I do expect that there's going to be I think there will be a resurgence in stuff like that in the next, I probably would say quite a bit, like 10, 20 years maybe, where stuff like arcades and large-scale entertainment venues will make a return as people get a bit more sick of digital-only products, because there's another topic. Digital only. It was sold to us like the Great Salvation. Games would get cheaper, the availability would be made easier, you'd have plug and play everywhere, and the quality of games would rise too, because they'd be able to release patches quickly. And what actually happened was games remained the same price, now slowly increasing in price, if not indeed already increased due to the availability of downloadable content. As for the ease of availability, well, in one way, yes. Like, if you're using a platform like Steam, games are very easily available. If you're trying to use anything else, they're a hell to get a hold on and will require like 24 accounts to play with, since everyone has their own goddamn storefront now.
Yep.
And as for games becoming better with, patches to fix problems, well, now we can just release the games unfinished and we'll toots fix them later.
I do like how AAAs are taking advantage of methods that were originally started by indie companies because they couldn't afford to develop the game. So they'd start with early access programs. And then they would be able to get the money as piecemeal to basically finish funding the game. And that's how we got things like, Factorio, fucking The Forest, and all these other games, right? And then AAA companies look at it like, that makes money. I want that. I want more money. I want to be paid to develop game too. It's like, yes, AAA. The reasons why these little tiny companies do that is because the guy who made Factorio, didn't have unlimited amounts of money. He had to go make it in order to fund his game, in order to get Factorio into the monster that it is now. Or just like Barotrauma. Started as a free-to-play, then they did early access, and that's going along pretty swimmingly too. Swimmingly. But AAAs are doing it now. And it's kind of annoying. Like, AA's I'm not too bothered by, like when it's a tinier one. Warno is a little bit one of those, like, they are kind of niche. But, like, it's like when you see the big boys
Warno's
do
can
it.
sneak by, because it's a very specialized product that benefits heavily from some early balancing attention.
I think early access games, especially for multiplayer competitive games, makes sense for me. Because I'll give that exception, because multiplayer games, you need testing early. So you can start figuring out the finicky stuff. Like with the cluster bombs and Warno that we streamed the other day. Like, holy crap. That was that was overpowered. Oh my goodness.
That how's the problem? But once more, though, the answer is some rules. Like, if you're going to do early access, there should be a vetting process by Steam on that, in my opinion. And now I know, there are so many games, can they even do it? But there is a quality concern there as well. If you're going to let a game go onto early access, you're basically saying, we're going to allow you to monetize a product that we know isn't finished and that might be in an outright broken state. There should be some demands placed on that. And one of those should probably be, if you have $1 billion and you already have released like 7 full titles, no, you probably don't get early access unless you are in a specific example like Warner. Like Naval Action. Naval Action was one of those other examples. Naval Action should never have been allowed to be an early access game because it's been in early access for like, I don't even know how many years now, and it is never proceeding out of early access. And I love Game Labs. They do so many cool things, but Naval Action is a crime. Genuinely. June 2019, it came out. It's still not even in a beta stage, really. And they're monetizing it with DLC. Like, that is much no-no. Much no-no.
What's another one? Project Zomboid. That game's been in early access for almost like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it's also making a lot of progress. So it's one of those things where it's like, it should be case by case basis. Like after a certain while, if the developer is actually done with the project, seems like, hey, are you working on this anymore? Like, no, we ran out of money. And it's like, okay, it should be marked as unfinished. It should still be available for sale because people should still have the ability to purchase anything they want. But it should be made aware to the person purchasing it that yeah, it's been abandoned in development. You can buy it, but this is all it will be. And then the features list should be updated to be what is in the game, not what was promised, what it actually turned into. Because some betas are actually still kind of fun to mess around in. Like look at Black and White, basically a glorified beta, and it's kind of fun to mess around in it. Though it's missing like several dozen features, but details.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of checks and balances that should be in place, and it is on Steam to begin putting them in place. Heavens. Right. One more topic for today, and we can actually do this as one of the short ArchCast.
What? No, we need to drag it out. During the supers, I'm going to find somehow to drag it out now. This lazy bastard.
So, we shall return to everyone's favorite topic, racism.
Look at Arch. Didn't even get to my article. To be fair, my article's boring and makes me depressed. I'm not.
Yeah, to be fair, it's an article on an article.
It's very true.
It's like, as a topic, we could talk about the whole NFT thing at some point, but there'll have to be the original source, little Kibby.
It's close enough, okay?
Bad Kibby. Plus, NFTs are pretty gay.
They are. I was actually hoping you'd find stuff to talk about because I hate talking about NFTs.
So the designers of D&D is trying to make their game shit. Essentially, that's the gist of this article. And the article itself is bloody pointless. I don't even care about the article. It's the same old fluff piece you will see from the same old wokest little ass monkeys every single time. Which go, this is so progressive, clap, 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 like trained little goddamn seals. But what is interesting is their entire point is, so D&D is reworking their races, for those of you who don't know. I've done a couple of videos on this, where they don't want any races to be inherently good or inherently evil, despite this being a fundament of their entire system. Like, this is the game that has the goddamn alignment chart, where you have hard alignments, which are supposed to dictate your behavior in many situations. And their races are evil. Like the demons are evil. Why? Because they're demons. It's dumb.
Yep.
But of course, it's racist to have, inherently evil races. And what I find so interesting about this is They've removed the various archetypical restraints. Now, in really old RPGs, there used to be that if you played a male character, you'd get like a bonus to strength. I think this was in the original Baldur's Gate. And if you played a female, you'd get a bonus to dexterity. It's like, okay, that makes a degree of sense. There's a benefit and an advantage. Cool. Then they removed that because it was sexist, obviously, because
Can't have mechanics. Fuck you, sexist.
can't have mechanics. And then they made the humans like the you can be anything race. Like, okay, we're not going to tie up any of your ability points. Just pick whatever, and you can be whatever. Like it was the neutral race, right? Okay, fair enough. That makes a certain degree of sense. So if you want to play something kind of stupid, you'd play a human. Like if you wanted to play something off the wall, something very unmeta, the human was there to serve your needs. Whereas if you want to play something rather specific, like a melee fighter, you might be a dwarf. If you want to be a ranger, you might be an elf, stuff like that. Now, they're reworking those rules so that all the races will be that cookie cutter race. So no race will be special. Playing a dragon newt will be no different from playing a human. Playing a tiefling will be no different from playing a human. Playing a goddamn gnoll will be no different from playing a human. The same stats, the same rules, the same alignment chart.
So it's like, what is the advantage of playing a race? Like it was like, see, I didn't really ever play D&D, but I played World of Warcraft, and when you pick the different races, they have different racial traits and different racial abilities. So that makes them interesting, right? You're like, okay, the undead can cannibalize corpses, and the humans get like, this thing to shake off fear and whatnot. So every man for himself or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, so every race has like a unique sort of gimmick to help personalize them, as well as it's more than just a skin. It's got some actual mechanical function behind it. There's actually something more to it than that. It plays a part of the game. But no, of course not. Can't have that because that would make them different. And I want to play a gnome and also be tall at the same time. I'm a tall gnome, bigot. What the heck? D&D's really gone down the gutter, though, with that. Because that's Wizards. They're owned by Wizards of the Coast, and Wizards of the Coast has gone absolutely nutty.
And that was kind of the thing too, because it allowed you to play something a little bit insane, because they played differently. If you played the dwarf, you could roleplay as a dwarf, the angry little stunty that hated elves if you so chose. If you wanted to play a tiefling, you could play a bit of a morally ambiguous thief, for example. You could play around with the racismus against tieflings. If you played something like a gnoll or some kind of orc, for example, you might play around with this as well. You might play a little bit brutish, or maybe the noble savage. There were a lot of role-playing reasons for picking the various races. But now, they're just humans with different facial features, which ruins a lot of the point of the RP. Like, you had so much choice, now you have no choice. You will play a human, but you'll look a little bit differently.
My human is blue, and like, oh, mine's red. But you can't even acknowledge the fact that they're different colors because that's racist. They're gonna do that next, by the way. You're like, you can't refer to tieflings as tieflings. They're small people. That's how it's gonna go down. You know it. It's like they're big people. Gotta be considerate.
There was also that they removed the size constraint from many characters as well. So you could now play a gnome that's human-sized.
Don't worry about it. Oh, see, this is dumb. I mean, I feel bad for people that like D&D, but it makes me glad I never got into it. Dodged a bullet.
It is the long journey towards making a hobby that is truly for everyone. In other words,
for no one.
Bland, boring, and uninteresting.
Oh, it's casualized to high hell. Oh, what happened to the soul and the charm? It's all gone now.
Well, at least for the moment, the soul and the charm is still optional. There are rules to return to that.
You mean you can just go back to the older books? That's what you're really saying. See,
pretty much.
that's not that they're like, in a way, I get what you're saying, but that's not necessarily the same. Like, the company themselves is refusing to acknowledge the past, and if they do acknowledge the past, they condemn their previous works, which is a heinous sign. It's like, we condemn the fact that we made an IP that was popular. This is a real shame. It's a real... Why we were changing it to ruin it.
It's very stupid. It ruins the entire setting. It's no longer Dungeons and Dragons, it's humans and humans.
Yep.
Or more correctly, humans and humans with horns.
Horn people, Arch.
Horn people. People just need to come up with racist epithets for the various factions now.
See, that's fun, though. Because you can build, like, story, and there could be, like, a reason why the orcs and the elves don't like each other, beyond just graping, like Smash and you know. There could be, like, slurs between those two races. Adversely, the humans might be more tolerant to both, because, like, well, you know, they do got good pussy. Because, you know, humans are horny. Humans don't give a fuck. Or wait, maybe they do give several. Maybe that's the problem here.
D&D.
Dead.
Indeed. Then again, both Sargon and V soured me on the D&D system. Sargon with his silver mines, D&D with his V and his fucking endless swamp thing.
Oh, poor Barge. Don't get Barge going on a tangent about it, guys. Don't you dare. Actually, yes. Super chat and ask more questions about the RP. Specifically about the VRP and the nails. The nails on the island. There you go. That'll make the stream last longer. The silver mine, that's it. God, those...
Right. Before we get to that, time to move on to the super chats. Yes. Black 1917 says, "Quick and hail Arch Christ, our Lord and Savior." Also, hi Kyle. How did the community event go?
It went well. We won. The developers showed up, the bar devs. They're pretty chill lads. We got the Gamdam guy. Oh, I can't remember his name exactly. He's the designer of the Scavengers game mode and the Chickens mode. And they did fix the bug we showed them, where the chickens were attacking our tombstone. I know that sounds really weird for those who have no context, but you'll have to take my word at face value. And for those who are unaware, Beyond All Reason is a cool little RTS in the same vein of Total Annihilation, the original game that came before Spring Commander. It's free, and you can download it. Pretty cool.
Tragically, the devs haven't learned that Kyle's a fascist yet. Well,
that's not true.
Though they do know that you're a fascist.
I don't even know how
Kyle
you
looks
come
up
to
and
that
realizes, shit, trap.
Arch is delusional. Drugs he's taking. That's okay. I'll be mean to him in every super chat we read today. Every one of them.
Next. Eric Johnson says, "Linked and a 9K 111 ATGM." That's a very specific response. And we weren't late, despite almost being late due to a little interruption of the internet there. And you can't use the technical term or the nickname on this stream, but when we go over to Kyle's channel, we shall talk about ATGMs repeatedly.
Oh, God. Wait, what? No, we're going to be playing Saga after this, not ATGMs. That's porno.
Yes, but Kyle doesn't... Kyle.
He's like, ATGMs existed in feudal times, Kibbs.
You monkey. Me.
Whatever. What's a T thing? Is there anything with a T in medieval era that makes sense with this?
Brett Verdheim says, "Hey Arch, any battle mech catch your fancy yet? I suggest the Pillager. I suggest the new 40k model, the Dire Wolf, which is the Battletech mech, but with a bigger gun on his back."
See, I looked at that, and there's a lot different about it, but the one thing that catches you when you look at it is the fact that it just has a completely similar posture. Like, the posture is what does it for me. If they just, like, stretched the arms out and wiggled the legs a little bit, but the fact that it just looks like it's pretending to be a direwolf is what What bothers me, because it's like it's trying to look like one. It's like, what are you doing? Games Workshop, like, right click, copy, paste. Terrible.
To be fair, it won't be the first time GW does this, and, you could compete with Battletech directly. You could, but since GW also wants to ruin as much of their own franchise as humanly possible, it would be a rather unfair fight. So, I think it'd be way better if GW just became Battletech, just took it over, just occupied all of it, and then
Occupied.
just sued them for ripping them off.
You leave Catalyst Games Labs out of this. They're tiny, small, and helpless.
Yes. And so when they get sued, I'm sure Kyle will be sad.
Like, help, we have like 5 employees.
The Real Haltonator says, let's make a play about Malcolm X and cast a white man in his role. I'm sure it will go over fantastically. I agree. We should start doing this more. It will send a message. Black 1917 says, game journos hate YouTubers because y'all are less fake, more popular, and for the shills and simps cheaper. You literally provide a better product for audience and companies significantly less. YouTubers are also more trusted, and they really hate that. Well, that is one thing. Yes, YouTubers are far more trusted because we are seen as just people.
Individuals.
Which we are.
Yeah.
Actually, it's very interesting. I read a lengthy article about this on the... oh god, I forget the scientific term now, but basically, whenever you see a parasocial relationship, that was the term. Basically, whenever you see somebody on the television or in a movie or whatever, your brain goes like, "That's a real human. I know this person now." Even if the awake part of your brain goes like, "No, just pictures on the television."
You've never met this person. You've never spoken to this person. You don't know this person. The parasocial relationship, that isn't it. You bring that up, and we could have like a whole conversation about people we've interacted with that like have this weird parasocial relationship with us, and they think like these weird things. That's where you get like people that put you on a pedestal. That's where you get people that stalk you. Poor Barch, poor me, poor me. That's where you get all sorts of like weird things. Because people think, I don't know, it's weird. There should be more conversation on that, I think.
The fun fact too is, they tried to test this out, right? There was a bunch of studies, and they tried to rank the level of the parasocial relationship. So, movies was at the bottom because it was a relatively brief interaction, and it was often done in a very ritualistic setting. It's not the right term, but basically you go to the cinema, and you know you're going to the cinema because it's a whole thing. You get in your car, you drive, you get popcorn, etc. It's a whole thing, And then after that, there was television, because that was far more casual. It was also a far more long-term relationship, because it could be, multiple seasons and stuff. It was a long-term commitment to watch these characters be homosexual on the television.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that people latched onto the most were YouTubers, because we had an even longer relationship than with the TV. It was an even more casual setting, and since we also talk to the audience via chats and super chat, etc., it became even stronger. So there will be many stalkers in Kyle's future, and I will be happy about that.
You'll have them too, Arch. Don't lie to me. He's like, no, that only happened once. It's like, yeah, it'll happen again.
Much will be spared.
If it happened once, it can happen again. It'll happen several more times.
Scarky the Strange says, can't wait for people to make the movie rendition of Snow White and the Seven Clever Boys.
The what? The 7 Clever Boys? What the fuck?
I feel like that might be the porn. I'm pretty sure there's already is a porn spin-off of Snow White.
Arch, I'm not only confident there is, there's probably not only several dozen like extended media eroticism of that. Anything that's popular gets looted to high hell, especially if it's been around for a long time. It has been.
Let's see. Snow White Gone Wild. Okay. Oof. Just Snow White. Cute fur patch. I don't know why that popped up.
That's a bit weird. Cute fur
More
patch.
Snow White, just Snow White. See, they're not parodies. They're just calling Snow White snowballing. All right.
Snowball.
I'm disappointed by the fact there are no like outright parodies here. To be entirely honest with you, I'd expected more production value.
Wait, that's not a porn game. That was some game JonTron covered. The Seven Clever Boys. It's a game.
That's awful, and I preferred it if it was a porn game.
It's a PS2 game.
Ah, there we go. Snow White, an Axel Brown parody. There we are. So there is one.
What?
Congratulations. There is one. And that was a much better variant than the PS2 game, I'm sure.
Well, you don't know. You haven't tried it. You haven't tried either ones. You need to try both of them, Arch. True.
A Streamlabs Superchat from Ray Epps. That is too spicy. I have to control myself. No, bad.
Change
This
the
is
words.
YouTube.
Change the words.
Nothing is illegal.
Just read it and change the words. That's kind of what I do.
I don't think I can.
What do you mean you can't?
It's too many words.
Did he just say like a string of spicy gamer words?
Basically.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can thank him for the super, I guess.
Yes, I see him afterwards too as John McAfee. You can change your name to a lot on Streamlabs.
Nice. That was being funny.
Chloe says, in D&D saying the races are evolving. Are they saying the inferior race are finally evolving to catch up with the superior races? Or has every race become poo-poo? Every race has become humans. This is good. The Ubermensch.
No, Arch isn't too cucked. I will actually defend Barch on this. If you say anything naughty, YouTube comes and then they grab your pinky and then they snap it backwards. And like,
And especially as this is to do with that little event that happened over in the US in January. YouTube really didn't like that one.
It's some things you just simply cannot say on YouTube because either A, you'll be suppressed and, forcibly graped repeatedly, or, B, they'll just throw you down a flight of steps several times and then delete your video. I've seen them. They did that to poor Razor not that long ago. They deleted some of his videos.
They do that.
How cruel is that? It's like, they're like, we deemed that this was bad, so we didn't, but we think you didn't know any better because basically they're saying that you're too dumb. And they're like, we deleted it for you. You're welcome. It's like, what the hell?
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my god. That's why I just refuse to deal with that stuff. Like, no politics. We just do video games. Because I don't want to be thrown down a flight of steps, too.
Actually, we will be talking politics on Kyle's stream today. The politics of the Viking invasion. Were the Vikings correct to try and breed out the English people? I, for one, say yes.
They tried to Viking them. You know what? They almost succeeded. Gosh darn, the Welsh hiding behind their mountains, like, shaking their sheeps.
Scarfy the Strange says, we here at the Lollipop Guild resent this assertion that we are dwarves. The proper term is munchkin.
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 Is it munchkin?
See, that's the problem
people?
too. If you meet a short person, do you that? It's a problem. What is the correct etiquette? Do you bend down and go like, "Hello, little one"? Are you a dwarf, a munchkin, or a short person?
You never.
I feel like this will just get you punched.
I think the proper etiquette is actually not to like. If you see a dwarf, you don't actually just get on your knees and like, "Hello." You like look at them. You just like talk to them as if they were a normal person. Treat them as you would.
Staring off into air above their head, they'll have to just wave at you. Hello, I'm down here.
Of course, you look down at them.
I feel like that's just as bad than just standing there above them, staring down like, oh.
Well, if you crouch low, I don't know. Like the problem is like I've seen so many things saying if you crouch low, that's really rude, and it's like, so if you come down to their eye level, that's that's rude because you're coming down to their eye level.
But I've been told that you should do that with animals. You should come down to their eye level.
Animals. See, I think that's the problem, Art. I think you're misconstruing people with animals again. He's like,
Okay, that's actually adorable. Chat told me to Google Munchkin cats, which are apparently cats with dwarfism, and that is adorable,
okay.
and I want
So
one.
I mentioned this earlier, and he said they would look dumb.
I mean, some of them do look really dumb.
Oh my god, they're sad looking. They're like little tiny cats that'll like help me.
Some of them are very sad looking. Like I found one that just looks like a sausage, pretty much,
Is
because
that?
his legs are tiny.
Oh my god, they have tiny little legs and like normal bodies. That one's just like, he's just like, help, I'm retarded.
Here, look at this one. Like this one looks amazing. Those tiny, tiny little feet and that fat ass body. It looks like a bad Photoshop of a cat.
That kind of looks like Arch, really. Like that's how I envision you if you were a cat. Like, what?
That is mildly adorable.
Tiny little stubby legs. It's like, help, I got little tiny stubs. Oh my god, little stubs. It's just feet. They're just paws. They're just
Neck.
paws.
This one's just neck.
Give another one. Oh my god, it is just a neck. Like,
It is just a neck.
Like, are there cats that are just like worms that have no legs or arms? And they just like
I like
around?
that one because it kind of reminds me of like a really nice neck beard, you know? He's just got that long and
He's like,
up his cheek.
I played it too much World of Warcraft.
He kind of looks like an Ethan Klein cat to me.
Oh no. Is he a pedo too? That guy pedo? I don't know.
It's a bit harsh.
Dude, it's the name of somebody famous. Odds are they're in some sort of like pedo ring or something.
I mean, he's a leftist. I'm not saying it isn't possible, but we have no definitive proof.
That's right. Begin to concede the points, Arch. Give ground to me again. It's not like you've done it before. He's like, no. These cats are special.
Munchkin cats.
Arrakis worm cat. Oh my god, I want to see an edit of that. Just bursts out like, doing music in the background.
I do quite like these. Sadly, I doubt you can breed for this particular mutation.
Yes, I would like it to be deformed, please.
So a pug. No, deformed. Oh, Jesus. Munchkin cats. There's a whole new thing now.
Munchkin cats. Send it to Disco. I'm sure she'll be happy.
Umanetti says, check Jim's Twitter if you can. Justin Trudeau is hiding in the bunker from the Truckers for Freedom. I did see that, yes.
What?
No, this is a Canada thing. They'd set up a GoFundMe for a truck convoy, and they would have like freedom on the side of it. It'd be an anti-COVID protest, anti-lockdown protest, stuff like that. And first, they pulled their crowdfunding page for no reason, like just because. And then Canada introduced a bill that made it literally illegal to organize truck rallies as a form of protest. It's full fascist tyranny, pretty much.
Gosh darn Canada. So, okay, what did the truckers do?
Well, we don't know yet, because the latest shot that was fired was that legislation, which... So it is currently illegal in Nova Scotia, Canada, to finance, organize, aid, or partake in a truck convoy. It is illegal to line the roadside in support of a truck convoy, and the punishment is $10,000.
That's
proportional.
That's a bit steep.
It's very proportional. And then, because of the massive backlash to this actual fascism, Trudeau was taken to his bunker due to security concerns, presumably because everyone wants to lynch the fascist traitor of Canada, which, to be entirely honest, I see the argument. I really goddamn do at this point.
I mean, he is a bit of a dictator, just a pinch. Just a little bit, okay?
We're going to make protesting against our regime illegal. I see.
We don't want to say that he is, though, because we don't want to get censored, so... We have it on good authority that he could be, you know? Like, hypothetically.
I mean...
Allegedly. See, these are... Arch, I'm trying to help you. I'm using the words here to prevent us from being castrated live on air. Okay, Justin Trudeau is allegedly a member of ISIS. You know, you got to go with that angle. You're not saying it. You're just saying I heard somebody say he was. You know?
What was that? What was that line from Springtime from Hitler again? Don't be stupid, be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi Party. Yes, those are words attributed to Justin Trudeau, and not at all a musical called Springtime for Hitler. Yes, there you go. Actually, it's called The Producers. By the way, The Producers is goddamn brilliant, and you need to go watch it. It's great.
Yeah.
Roy King 2740 donates a swastika to say, Arch, can Papa Nurgle give you Three Stooges syndrome? Presumably, yes. Actually, he donates 15 swastikas.
50. What currency is that?
I believe it's the shekel, but it looks like a swastika. Here, there. See, I'll copy it to you. See?
Okay,
see what I mean?
See. Hold on. Oh yeah, it's not a. That's not Arch.
No, it is. Shut up. It is.
I'll put it in the little typey bar chat. That's a swastika.
You just
everyone.
need to squint at it a little bit.
Arch is like, if you close your eyes and then open them and look at a picture of a swastika, that's what it looks like.
I wish I still had this picture somewhere, but I once made a spacecraft in Kerbal Space Program, and I made a particular landing gear because I was having trouble getting a steady landing, and I was looking at it in flight like, that looks familiar. And I sent that to Kyle. Many, many years ago.
He sent me many things, by the way. It's not... That is merely one thing. It's the least scarring of many. Oh my god. Jeez, look at all the super piling. We will be here for an extra hour chat. Good.
I'm looking forward to Kerbal Space Program 2, which I will have multiplayer, and I will very much so enjoy watching Kyle not be able to do anything.
That's fine. My goal isn't to get to space. My goal is to just knock your stuff out of the orbit, and if I can't do that, my goal is to clutter the orbit with so much debris circling the Kerbal planet that you'll never get off the planet. That's the goal here.
You need to get into orbit first, though.
Listen, it's actually harder to get stuff to stay in orbit. For me, it's easier to get stuff to go and orbit the sun, which is not a good sign. I had a few Kerbins, or whatever they're called, orbiting the sun. Maybe several trapped in there. Perpetually going around the sun.
That's difficult to achieve, but there you go. Gokka says, Yo, Kibbs, told me you're a weak Norwegian and changed your mind about the Hobbit movie. Shame on. Shame, be proud Norwegian. Become too few here.
No.
My opinion about the Hobbit movie has always been that it's goddamn amazing.
No. See, we watched the battle scene, and he's like, "Yeah, it's not as good as I remember, but I do like the fight scenes." You backpedal.
I think you're imagining some shit, Kyle, because I love the third movie. It's just one long, retarded battle scene, and it's great.
Oh,
I mean, the story gets in the way occasionally, like when Durin dies and shit, but luckily the movie moves on swiftly.
The movie moves on. That's the end of the movie, though.
Yeah. Good.
Moves on quickly to the credits. Oh my god. I'll never understand why you're able to like the third one, though. Like, you don't like the first one, you don't like the second one, but you like the third one.
It's great. It's great. Like, in the middle of the battle, giant earthworms just shoot out of the ground and vomit forth armies of orcs, after which the earthworms are never seen again. It's brilliant. It violates every rule of basic warfare. And I love it. It tickles the same pickle that Girls and Panzer does, where it's just like, this doesn't happen in any universe, and Girls and Panzer is like, watch me slide across the earth in my Tiger 2.
Oh, the scene that always gets me is when the dwarves and the elves like team up, right? And the dwarves form a shield phalanx wall, and then the elves immediately jump over said phalanx.
Yeah, but that's teamwork, kind of. Teamwork.
It's like, oh, they formed a phalanx and the elves hopped over them. It's like, so you've just invalidated the phalanx now.
Yeah, but I think they fired some arrows over it first, so.
Oh. You know, in the extended edition,
I also really liked...
gore. What?
I also really like how they built up Smaug, like, to be this big bad, and he's flying towards the village. Burn you. And then in the first, like, 5 minutes of the next movie, the random human character who nobody knows or cares about grabs a thing and shoots the thing and kills the dragon in one hit. And then the dragon is dead and you never hear from him again. And it's like, wow, that was underwhelming.
Like, that's one of the things, like, in The Hobbit, they build up Smaug as the big bad, and they're trying to introduce, like, this white orc dude as being like, oh, but he's like the second big bad, you know? But the real big bad's Smaug, and then Smog's just, like, dead in, like, 5 minutes. He's like, ugh. And they're like, whatever, Smog's dead. Okay, so the dwarf gold now. All right, we've completely forgotten about the giant-ass dragon. Got it.
Yeah, but now Durin's kind of having a bit of a freak out because he saw some shiny shit and he's like, shiny shit.
I do like the Durin song thing. But the Goblin King song, I will never change my mind on that. The Goblin King can go straight to hell.
And then Sauron has bus sex with Gandalf. That was also kind of funny. And he puts him in like a cage and stuff and abuses him. Oh, and the barrels. The barrels were amusing too. It's not how barrels
second
work,
movie,
by the way.
wasn't it? Yeah, that's the second movie. Second movie.
No, I thought the barrels was the first movie. I mean, it was the second movie. I don't even know.
No, second one.
They kind of run together, honestly.
They kind of do in a bad way, though. It's like, you can't really remember, like, I remember the Goblin King's in the first movie, right? Right, chat? The second movie has the barrel scene where they're in the freaking barrels. And, like, if anyone's ever been in a barrel in the water, like, or has any idea how barrel or water works, like, they just, like, defying physics. And it's totally uncanny. And the scene just lasts forever. It just lasts forever. It'd be one thing if they just did it and they was like, okay, that was dumb, but, like, at least it's over. The barrel scene, like, they're just floating down. And the entire second movie is just them, like, before they get captured by the weird, I forget the what, oh, crap. I'm terrible with names. The wood elf, not the wood elves, they don't call themselves that, the name. Whatever. They're floating down the barrels, right? And it's the entire movie's just them running all the time. Non-stop running. Like, run. It's like that scene from Two Towers where Aragorn and Gimli and, you know, oh god. Not Elrond, Legolas, there we go. They're chasing after, you know, the two hobbits are captured. Except that's the entire movie. Except then you throw in, like, fight scenes on top of that. So there's fight scenes and crazy theatrics happening non-stop. So the stakes drop like a rock. And nothing has any value to it. Like, there's no reason to care. It's like, oh, they're bonking and thwacking. Like, there's no stakes. And Two Towers, like, that one elf dude, which never showed up at Helm's Deep, literally dies. And there's actually a little bit of stakes there because characters die. Named characters die. Like, whoa, people die. Lego ass. No, Chad. Listen, just because I mispronounced Aragorn doesn't mean you can call it Aragon. That's a different book.
Aragon. Harkonnen.
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 Yeah, Harkonnen.
TZ Rock says, well, if corporations are people, doesn't a corporation owning another corporation violate anti-slavery laws? I wish. Oh god, a whole barrage. J. Lowe says, hey Arch, did you know I stole 4.4 billion from the Malaysian government and I financed the entire Wolf of Wall Street movie, lol. Also, I got away with embezzlement and currency in China. That's fine, though. You're a strong Latinx woman.
Run away, Boog. Run away while you still can.
Lord of the Opossum asks, why are the Swedes an inferior people? I see you cut up the letters there to get around YouTube, I guess.
Oh my god.
The Swedes are inferior people for the reason that they do not value microcats as I do. Especially the Dune cat. The Dune cat is pretty great. God, I can't get over its chin. I cannot get over its chin.
It's like, it has no chin. It has a neck.
It's beautiful.
It's neck cat. Look at this slidey neck.
It is adorbs, and it should be touched. Lord of the Opossums also says, you should get a P.O. box so I can send you things. Kyle would send me poop in the mail. I wouldn't like that.
It still reminds me of that one German streamer that I watched, and I had Fairman translate it for me because I know he says Scheiße, and he's like, "Oh, it's shit in the wrapper." Because somebody sent him something, and he opens it, and like he's gagging, coughing, and like he vomits a little bit, and I find it cathartic to watch because I like how he's going from like a little happy face to a little bit grossed out to absolute recoil of what's in his hand. It's like he's very miserable, and this makes me happy. There was poop.
Disgusting, Kyle.
There's a reason why some of those like unboxing channels they wear like gloves and they wear like little masks, because God only knows what people are gonna send you, and they may not intend for it to spoil or whatever. But by the time it arrives, sometimes that crap is like, oh, it's explodey.
See, some of these I can read. Like Novak Djokovic, who's a Serbian, who's popular because he's a Serbian, says Australia is a horrible country that deported me for petty reasons. Scott Morrison is a bastard using my case for his re-election, and Channel 7 propaganda called me a lying asshole. Remember, our concentration camps and the Gestapo bashing protesters. Only a small part of Australia has concentration camps. Only a portion, which is fine.
Yes. I always find it funny though. People are like, Australia's become cancer. It's like, no, Australia was always a prison. You just finally remembered.
It was always pretty bad.
You just got a chance to remember that you're in a prison. You're like, no.
Neck Cat bids you remember that you've always been in prison.
True.
ShadowFox2300 says, lol, he made the game Helltech for the simple fact there wasn't enough Rule 34 of female demons in suits, which is a good reason. And he did make Cerberus, and Cerberus is pretty coy.
Weeb.
Lucky Leo25 says, Kyle, how is GG underdeveloped? You get DRM-free games that you can download and put on physical media if you wish. How can it be made better? Yeah, Kyle.
The devs literally said it wasn't good enough, that they didn't get the funding they needed, and that half the features they want implemented still aren't implemented.
Okay, so you're simping for CD Projekt Red or something.
I'm feeling bad for the devs that work on GOG, because GOG is actually really cool, and it could have the potential to be so much more. And I was like, why isn't it so much more? Well, simple answer is CD Projekt Red is shafting them on the funding. They don't have nearly enough staff to do what they want or resources. And I don't know why.
Cyberpunk cost a lot of money, okay?
They should be putting that money into GOG. CD Projekt Red, you can't make games anymore. Your game making thing has been revoked. You can't do that anymore. Banned. You made a card game too. That's really cringe. Definitely revoked.
Lord of the Opossum says, how would you end the Warhammer 40k story? I'd just stop writing at some point and then walk away so people could be really angry with me.
Perfect. That way no one will ever really know.
And they'd have to keep making content for my dead setting to keep speculating.
Like, well, based on my hypothesis, the Primarchs would came back and shuck each other's dicks a little. But maybe kill each other. Maybe.
They would have to keep writing fanfiction for all eternity, and it would be kind of great.
It'd be like, Some of it would be kind of good, and then, you know what you could do? Right before you die, you could be like, and then the end times happened to invalidate everything as one last fuck you, and then
just
die.
To wipe it all out.
And then Age of Warhammer Mar begins. Then sell it to Disney to really fuck them good. There you go, bam, they're gone.
Chloe says, just remember, chat, never have a parasocial relationships with YouTubers. It's like falling in love with a hooker, except the hooker gives you more than these e-thoughts. That's correct. Never have a parasocial relationship with Kyle.
Or Arch. Arch is like, have one with me, though. I was like, okay, Arch, you'll deal with that again, Arch. See how it goes this time, Barch. This time, kids won't be here to pick up the pieces. Age of Barch Hammer. Ooh, I like that one.
Brother Strato donates a very generous $50 to say, hashtag revenge for Strato. Never forget. Also, chat, help me. Help him.
What's wrong,
Somehow.
Strato, I swear to God, he's playing World of Warships. If you're playing World of Warships, your pinkies will be broken. He's like, I don't have fun playing this game. It's like, then why are you playing? Because I want to be sad. So,
True. World of Warships does make people kind of sad.
Rest even. True.
We should play it again now that it is submarines.
No, we keep reinstalling that game, and every time we go back to it, it still sucks.
Yes, but that's kind of part of the fun. But first we need to play Vanity Fair, because I'm hoping that'll be bad too.
You're hoping.
So John says, have you ever played Fairy Fighting by a guy who goes by the name Iluku? I have seen porn with that name. I presumed it to be a video game, but no, I have not played it.
What was the name of it?
Fairy Fighting.
Fairy, I'll pull it up for chats.
No, you will not.
On a different tab.
No, you will not.
What is it? Fairy Fighting. What's it? Tell me what it is, Arch.
Oh, he did this to himself.
Fair Fighting. Crap, I misspelled it. English translated. Uh-oh.
Glow in the Dark says, the only reason most mega corporations exist is usually partnership or government aid. This includes Silicon Valley. They get state and federal aid. That is true, and it needs to fucking stop. The state should not be giving any money to a billion-dollar company.
True.
Mark James says, being unceremoniously promoted to supervisor, so here is a super chat in case I can't pay attention. Here is for the Sony Merrill Lynch merger, making a super publishing bank selling NFTs. Don't forget to invest in Nintendo coins. I can't wait until we actually have alternative. Like, this is the thing. We are living in the early days of genuine fucking cyberpunk. The companies are now in a position to make their own goddamn currency. It's a really bad idea.
Listen, the corporation needs its private security force to ensure that its assets are protected. Like, oh my god. Private security force includes several aircraft carriers. 18 atomic warheads. Like, okay. Be based.
Because why not? Marcus James says pinball machines are starting to make a resurgence. I wouldn't be surprised, partially because there's a lot of man-children like myself who would be like, I would like to own one of those, but it's stupidly large and I can't justify to have something so dumb in my house. But at the same time, man. Glow in the Dark, big companies are not creative. They do steal ideas from small companies and do it usually in the worst ways. Often, yes. They also patent it to make sure nobody else can use it. Glowy says, proper etiquette for short people is to pick them up and toss them to assert your dominance. Then, when you are sitting down, use them as a footstool. If they rebel, get on a table or moderately high spot to avoid attacks. Then pee down on them, I guess?
Maybe. We got a fan creation, by the way. I'll send it to you. Technically.
Alternatively, you just toss the micro cat at it.
The micro cat. Meow.
I don't understand, Kyle, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Did you see the video?
Oh, god, it's a minute long.
We'll play it for chat.
How can you do this to me?
They put effort into it.
And you're playing some cringe.
Alright, we'll see what it is. This isn't a clip from my channel, okay?
Actually, judging by the aim, this is definitely a clip from your channel.
I hope it doesn't play anything really weird.
You hope? You hope?
What the heck is that?
You hope?
That looks so janky, I'm not gonna lie.
You hope?
Oh, Arch recruited Kibbs for the ArchCast. Well, apparently... by playing a bad video game, apparently.
The sounds confuse me.
There's a lot of effort put into this.
There is. I approve.
Okay. Violence. Apparently I was violently recruited to the ArchCast.
To be fair, it captures the nature of our conversation pretty well. It's like, let's do this. You're gay. Too bad we're doing it. Yeah.
That was, that happened. Oh, I get the picture. It's an edit from that.
Hold on. We're gonna put that in Twitter because it's silly, and silly things are good.
All right, I'll retweet it. Let's see, open my Twitter chat and like read. It's true. There, did it.
What else was happening? Oh yes. No, hold on. Jesus.
What?
Jesus.
What?
Help me. There.
Link for the
Holtz
video,
says
please?
United States of America.
Yeah, what?
I don't know either. Martin Shame then says AA Game Studio equals a future Microsoft Game Studio. Correct. It's one of the problems. Critical Orc Theory says our hatred of the elves stemmed from a long feud between Grummash and Corellon. Grummash wanted to be inclusive, so he invited Corellon into his hut. Later, Corellon ran out with no pants, and Grummash chased after him with one eye missing. Now we just slay elves. This is good. Especially the gay elves. The Demon Prince says, Archer, why do you hate my game so much? Don't you know I am a puppet no longer? I am the God Slayer. P.S. No more of the sharpest fangs wins, thus killing bites. Latinx. It's your name now. Can I rename people in the chat? I can't. That's unfortunate.
YouTube, a requested feature that is really pointless. Please give it to us.
Mark James says, Angels Fall First is in early access, but the Discord is all, where's the dude? The typical reply is always, Farse's fault. Oh, well, Kyle. That Angel Falls First game, I do like the idea.
Oh, you
of
looked
it.
at
That's
it.
that thing about the strategy first person thing about thumb.
It's a game that has like these orbital battles, and there's boarding actions, and there's big ground battles. It's like Battlefront 2, but like not.
But like not. I said early access, so we'll just let it pitter and patter in early access for a little while.
Continue to develop, bake in the oven, so to speak. Also, there's a certain small Danko who is excited. We finally, after several years, installed her GPU.
No. Don't try to distract me, Carl. Just send her microcats and be quiet.
Oh yeah, Disco. Type in Munchkin Cat.
Mark James says, you want gay in D&D? Play High Elves. That's good. You need a little bit of homosex in your life. Lord Commissar Spartan takes the opportunity to shit on Carl. Been a bit since I caught a stream live. Want to thank Kibbs again for ruining my interest in the Rat RP. Snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. I will never forgive that stupid betrayal.
Ooh.
Kyle has many haters.
That was like a year ago.
Yet the wounds are still fresh.
Good. I hope it stings.
Jack the Outcast says, hey Larch and Kibbs, Canada needs to throw out their potato of a Prime Minister, kick out Quebec, and lay siege to the provinces until they stop being French or starve to death. I approve of this message, particularly the starving the French part, because they're French. They can eat cake. It's fine. That is apparently an incorrectly attributed quote, by the way, but details. Scarfy the Strange says, I asked a fellow player how he ended up playing a halfling half-giant. He said his father's name was Bubba, and that he liked them little. I believe the FBI will be on your door later. I suggest not fighting. Skullthrone888 says, Arch, you're mistaken. Kibbs wishes to bread. Chast must not give the Kibbs what he wishes. Hashtag unbreed Kibbs.
What? We must go back.
I still think he wishes to be bred, though. Not necessarily bread, but bread.
I think nice French baguette. Yes.
I don't know if that qualifies as bread.
French baguettes are bread.
I don't know. I question this hypothesis. The thesis.
What?
Find me the internet source that tells me that baguettes are bread.
Someone needs to help Arch.
You need to find a source for your ridiculous claims, fascist.
See, I don't see enough rat power in chat. The movement is
Mark
suffering.
Ashamed says, the new Invicta tactical warsuit perfect for Ripley, the first female safe space Primarius Marine to fight the Nord Queen. Female space marines.
What?
Malicus Shaikan, Supreme Commander, is better than Total Annihilation. Correct. Desert Hamster, Arch, when will you become a corporation? I already am one. Like 1917. Game journals also hate that YouTubers frequently go on to bigger, better, more successful careers in various industries once their careers and industries is dying and or on life support. Correct again. Much ashamed. So where did those Dominion voting machines come from? That's how they got their prime minister. We don't speak about the voting machines here. They're fine and they function, and the fact that Pelosi bought massive shares in the voting machines through her husband months before they were adopted as the official voting machines is what we like to call a conspiracy theory.
It's just a series of coincidences.
Coinky dinky winkies, all of them.
Yes, just like the Quinky Dink where that guy got, his head ventilated by a shotgun.
Rayap says, you did not read my previous donation. I will not get my buddies at the FBI and DOJ to get you indicted on RICO. That's true. January 6th was a happy day when nothing happened, okay? That's the official narrative.
The glow is
Or
mad.
it was the day the world ended. It depends, frankly.
Chloe's like, I'll get you. Mark my words.
Gus says, you only hate Trudeau because he's dark. He has been in blackface frighteningly frequently, and I do kind of hate him being in blackface. I must admit this.
With his little tongue
It
sticking
just
out.
does look wrong. Sentinel Rex says, Fidel Castro's son, Justin Trudeau, is a dictator. Shocking. Indeed. Perhaps he should be castrated. Not as a punishment for anything, I'm just, putting it out there.
For medical reasons, of course. And Minecraft. There you go.
The Real Holzinator says, opinion on Aragon. You mean the dragon?
The book. I think the book or the dragon in Aragon specifically.
Oh, it had a really awful movie. Like an incredibly bad movie. Like, it was so bad. It ended the franchise before it can even start. That's how bad it was.
The movie was terrible, especially the battle scene, where it just looks at their feet as they shuffle.
And the dragon. The dragon looks like some kind of half baby thing. Like, it's very disgusting.
The first book, Aragon, I thought was good, but I thought that the energy that was driving it, for some reason it just felt like it really just pitter-pattered out. Every book just got weaker and weaker in terms of writing. That's what at least I remember. But the first book, Aragon, wasn't too bad. In fact, I'd say it's actually good.
The problem is, too, is every time I see the title Aragon, especially with that dragon face, my brain automatically translates that to Aragon, porn gun. And I think it's a good movie. It's about dragon sex and fluffy creatures. It's the fluffy dragon. Oh, look, Kyle, it's the fluffy dragon.
Oh my god, what are you talking about? I've been trying to follow that.
Kyle, look, it's the fluffy dragon.
Oh my god. Oh, shut up.
It's the fluffy dragon.
It's the fluffy dragon. Don't tell Carlos.
I've still saved that drawing, and I'm going to bring that up when it's most inconvenient.
Chat doesn't
The
know.
fluffy dragon.
Chat doesn't need to know.
I praised Carlos for the fluffy dragon. Like, that's your best work. Was trying to infer into his little mind that he has more fluffy dragons, Carlos. More. Now, fluffy or not, got him on YouTube. Stop that. Stop that. There you go. Scarfy the Strange says Trudeau is not a terrorist. He's just the son of Fidel Castro and Ostan, I've heard. It is a conspiracy theory, which means it's probably true. Mark Ashamed, best R18 mod for which game? I say MMD, but Dead or Alive has some good ones. Dead or Alive is an R18 game, so I'm sure it does. It's gotta be Skyrim though. Skyrim has spawned entire internet communities for its porn, which is impressive. And the worst part is too, it's the kind of porn where it's really poorly animated. Like there's two animations playing continuously, and you're just kind of sitting there like, is this pornography, or is this a bug? I could believe this to be a bug.
Oh, fuck.
Like it's hot coffee all over again, huh? Black 1917 says all this while no one knows most of their names. Most of the journals whose name we do know are disgraced sellouts or wokeists. Article they write typically only give clout to the site they're on. That's true as well. I am Arch. Some urinalist on some site is a dispensable thing. It's an item. It's a part of inventory, to be used and abused as the company wishes. Mark James says, okay, Kibbs, look up incognito Queen of Fighters Mugen mod.
No. I don't want to. I have a feeling that's porn, especially if you open it up in incognito mode.
Well, Kyle, you are soft and weak.
You're soft.
And you should be ashamed of yourself. Sweet Nasura says, any interest in War of Rights, the American Civil War FPS? Not immediately. Maybe. The Real Wholesome says, oh my god, that movie was cringe. Yes, it was. Yes, it really was. Don Pete XX, in the movie, the dragon talked too much. I can't even remember that. I can just remember there was a really bad movie. That's literally all I remember. It looked cheap and it was bad. Half and Half says, beep boop, happy Friday and January 29th. And finally, Lord Commissar Spartan says, a year ago, and I still have yet to watch another episode of the RP after you botched the easiest victory in the history of all RP, Gibbs. Kyle has a small but dedicated fan following.
This is what we refer to as the parasocial relationship.
The parasocial burning at the stake ship.
Yes. More or less.
As long as it affects Kyle. All right, and we're through. We have moved through it all, whilst Neck Cat has watched over us. I do love that creature. Like the neck is
Another super.
There wasn't, Kyle. You're lying to me. It's just a neck.
It's Neck Cat. Cute as fuck.
I mean, inside of me, there are two warring instincts.
I know.
Part of me kind of wants to reach down and strangle it.
What? I don't want to strangle it, though.
I kind of want to strangle it. It's like a very long neck, and it's just looking up at you as if like, end my suffering, Mason.
Wow.
Look
bit
at
of
me.
a sociopath.
My paws are tiny. They cannot bear the weight of my neck.
Neck Cat just wants to extend his neck in friendship, not to be murdered. He's like, shake my neck.
Too, like, that isn't even the full extension of the neck in all due likelihood. When that thing reaches up to like rub its neck in something to mark it, it would just extend like a telescope.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is a retarded creature. But adorable at the same time.
It's cute.
God,
but also sad looking at the same time.
I imagine it would look hilarious when it runs. I cannot find any videos of these cats running. This makes me sad. Oh, holy shit. It's a cat breed. Okay, I need one of these now.
Oh no.
Holy fuck. Look at this one. Like, this one looks like his mother was just murdered right in front of it.
That one does look very upset.
Jesus.
He's like, how come I'm not tall? How come I literally lick the ground when I move?
It has had a bad day.
It is the sad cat.
Alright, okay, I'm gonna need a... I'm gonna have to buy one of these. Because of their build, some munchkins can suffer from breathing problems. Some? You don't mean all?
Oh my god, turns
My
out when
lungs
you...
touch the ground.
It's just like the pug. Like, this thing shouldn't exist.
Oh, I bet you we specifically bred these things just for shits and giggles. Like, won't it be funny if their legs are tiny and retarded?
Like, they're looking at you like, well, I couldn't have been born a normal cat. Why did you have to do this to me? I'm retarded looking.
I'm an abomination. Please, throw me in the river.
Throw me in the river. Mercy killing at best.
Just looks up at you. Giant sad cat eyes. Killing me would be a mercy human. Do you have what it takes?
Extends neck.
Horrible.
Wring
Horrible.
thy neck. Ring.
Lastly, Nathan Hildeman says, I really loved the mecha anime conversation in this week's Kevin RP. How big of a super would you need to scrap the episode and talk about Gundams? I don't know enough about Gundams to just talk about Gundams for an episode, I don't think.
How much of a super?
Maybe we'll do Gundam lore. That'd be funny.
I mean, it's entirely possible that we might have to scrap tomorrow's episode thanks to Dev, who hasn't
Depends on fucking
tested.
Dev, yes.
Having had a week to test the frigging program. I shake my head. I shake my head in disgust at Dev. Putting no effort into the RP. Shame on him.
And with all of that being done, thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for the very generous super chat, and thank you to Neckcat for just being a neck with a cat attached to it.
It is the biggest neck cat.
Oh, Glowy sneaks in at the end. Come chat, join Mike Kibbs Hate Fan Club, where we try to screw Kibbs up. No, not hump Kibbs, I mean cause him discomfort. And no chat's a pervert, so I need to clarify also, is not that munchkin cat a wiener dog shape? Is not that munchkin cat a wiener dog shape? That is a sentence in and of itself.
I closed the image though. But yes, it looked kind of like a noodle. I will agree.
Yes, it looked a little bit like a noodle, but this is good.
Noodle cat. There you go.
Have a good day, chat.